Uh, Thank you for inviting me to this seminar on universal basic income. So at the outset, I would like to say that the elderly in India, as per the Constitution of India, under Article 21, has promised a fundamental right to life. So our premise as HelpAge is that the state has to provide a basic pension if you have to provide a basic state of life. And Article 42 goes on to add that vulnerable sections of the population, be it disabled, be it elderly, be it single women, widows, they also have to be protected. And so I think we demand that the government of India provides a basic pension to all older people. And everybody in this room and every single person in India will grow old. So it will be, if you give a universal kind of basic income to older people, you have a fairly larger group of people you can. Sarat, I think, how does it go down? Down key. Okay. So today we are 100 million and we will grow to be 177 million by 2025. 90% of the elderly are from the unorganized sector. So unorganized sector is the sector that SEWA also works with various people. And these are people who have no provident fund, no pension, nothing. As they grow old, they have no work and they have no means of income. And another basic issue is 55% of this segment are women. So we have a staggering figure of 19 million widows who have no form of sustenance. And I'll tell you what the government of India does. The government of India tries to escape from this feature, and they give a meager pension of 200 rupees for widows and 200 rupees for older people. This is the contribution. And this 200 rupees is per month. 200 rupiya prati mah, that is what they give. So, and when you get above 80 years, the cost of healthcare, the cost of everything goes up. And as a result of it, most people above 80 years in India start becoming destitute. They become destitute because children have migrated from their homes and they have no money. So there is no caregiver, there is nobody to take care of them, and there is no money. So they end up as destitute. And what does Government of India do? Government of India does nothing. So actually, we have actually filed a public interest litigation in the Supreme Court, and we are fighting for that the Government of India has to provide a universal pension to all people. So our prayer to the court is, and the court has asked the Government of India to reply. And of course, this will go on for some more time. And the issue, of course, when it comes to women and single women and widows, I think they are also a group which needs pension because the 200 rupees needs to change. So some of us have got together and we have a coalition which is called the Pension Parishad. And the Pension Parishad, every year, next month we will be sitting at Jantar Mantar, arguing with parliamentarians, demanding pension. Ours is not an economical argument. Ours is a demand. So it is simply that we want pension for these people if the government has to fulfill its constitutional promise. And so some of us, when we released the report also, we found that we released a report called the State of Elderly. And in the State of Elderly, a lot of elderly said that we need financial aid and we need free treatment and health care, both of which is not available in this country. And the Pension Parishad and us, we started looking at the National Social Assistance Program, which has got the Indira Gandhi pension. It also had Annapurna and other schemes, etc. And we found out that they were only able to reach 196 million people. And we heard from Professor Bremen and other people in the morning, there are a lot of inclusion errors, bad targeting, people who are well off get pension, people who are very poor don't get pension, tribals don't get pension. There's all sorts of issues which is happening. And there is huge corruption. There are places where pension is drawn, nobody knows who got the pension. And when we started looking at, these are specific case studies. This is in Rajasthan. We have Varadi Devi, she's about 79 years old. Whenever she goes to collect a pension, the UID rejects her because the UID has got tremendous problems and her fingerprint is not read by the UID. And she found later on, when she went for the 4th attempt, somebody has drawn out her 3 UIDs because she put her fingerprint on a sheet of paper which said that somebody else can draw the pension. She did not know, so somebody asked her to put it and somebody else drew the 3-month pension. So this is the issue. And she has a Antodaya ration card, which is a food distribution program, and she has not received a 35 kg of wheat from the PDS system. This is another problem. And of course, another problem which I have not mentioned in this slide is, we call ourselves, we have the best internet in the country, digital, we want to go cashless, etc. But in these poor places, we have found in Rajasthan, the internet doesn't work. You do not get connectivity in these villages. You have to take the POS machine and the fingerprint scanner on the top of a mountain top to get digital, to get any internet connectivity. So this is the issue. And then, worse off, this is another gentleman, Naul Singh, who lives in Bharat, and he is 76 years old. When he went to collect his pension, he was declared dead. The pension record says, you have died. But he's perfectly alive, he has got a UID card, but the system has declared him dead. So there are a lot of issues like this. Either you are declared dead, your UID doesn't read. So all these errors are happening. So we think because of these problems, you got to universalize the pension system. Either you universalize, give it to everybody, or you don't give it to taxpayers and you give it to all people who are not taxpayers. So this is one area. So we did an analysis. I do not know whether you can see this properly, but what we tried to do is, we tried to do a targeting at, if you give 2,000 rupees universal pension, what will it cost? If you give 1,500, what it will cost? 1,000 rupees, what will it cost? This is universal, by the way. And to all people above 60 years. There were 9.56 crores, which is 95.6 million in this calculation. And if you give at 1,000 rupees, it will cost you, it will be 1% of your GDP. If you give at 2,000 rupees, it will be 2% of your GDP. Of course, now it is political will versus GDP calculations. Because when I went to the finance minister, Arun Jaitley said, we don't have the money to give you, the scheme is very nice, what you're telling is very good, but we don't have the money. So can you prove us how much money it is? So we proved him how much money it is. And by the way, this is less than the money lost in the 2G scam. So this is smaller than that. And of course, my other friend Rahul said, we are losing much more money in Goa. That's a different story. But now if you look at, assuming it is not universal and you cover only 80%, you cover only the unorganized sector, and you look at seniors, then the cost at 1,000 comes to 0.9% of the GDP, or 1 point. So in our opinion, universal pension is affordable and can be given, and I can prove it to the government of India that there is money to give in the kitty. So this is something which we need to look at. And the Ministry of Rural Development, instead of recommending 2,000 rupees, they set up a committee and said, 200 rupees is too low, it is very less, so we will give you 300 rupees. So those have said 300 rupiya kar diya. And I think it's an insult. It's a complete insult to the older population in India who have contributed to the GDP for the last 60 years. You ask them and you tell them you will give 300 rupees. So we reject that recommendation of 200 rupees. We think at least 2,000 rupees of universal pension, call it universal basic income, call it anything, but give us this 2,000 rupees. So this is what we demand. We demand that at least 1% of the GDP should be contributed to the elderly who have worked for this nation, and it is also your constitutional promise under Article 21 and Article 42. So this is what we will, and we will fight till we achieve it. Whether they want to give universal basic income or whatever it is, we will fight for universal pension. So this is what I'd like to say. Thank you, and I hope either through universal basic income, if we get the pension, we'll be very happy.